You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a successful motivational speaker and trusted life coach, Nancy knows how you can live the life you want regardless of the challenges you face. Although she's legally blind, Nancy's mission is to inspire others to overcome obstacles and live life full out. Call in at 800-333-0001 to ask Nancy for advice on topics such as relationships, finances, business, health, and more. Just call 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Hello and welcome to Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and today we're going to be talking about bravery. When in our life we need to step up, be a leader, getting ourselves out of moments of tragedy, crisis, or just moments where we feel like we're just not living our dream, our purpose. How do we get ourselves out of that point? It takes bravery, it takes courage to get yourself to where you want to be. And what happens when life gives us tragedy? Like these situations that are unthinkable. We get out of those moments. Again, we have the ability to channel the energy, the optimism, the courageous spirit within ourselves to get us into a more brave mode, to get to a place where we are living on purpose and living full out. So we're going to be talking about that today. Also, we want to hear from you. If you have any questions where you're asking yourself, I know I need to be more brave in my life, I don't know how to do it, call us. The number's 800-333-0001, 800-333-0001. Also, we want to give you resources. So if you need support, reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. Again, that's connect@livingfullout.com, so that we can help you to live full out in life and be brave and be fearless. We want that for you and for everybody in your life. Also, if you have an inspirational story, you've overcome a tragedy in your life, you've survived, you've learned lessons over time, you've cracked the code, we'd love for you to share your story, but we need to hear that story. So reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. We're going to go ahead and say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hello.
Hi, thank you for joining us. How can we help you today?
So I had a couple of questions around the subject that I wanted to kind of like lead my life with, kind of.
Okay, so share with me more, but what do you mean?
So I've been recently, I think, with like college and just growing up and stuff, I've been a little worried about how to motivate myself to go further and like pursue anything that I really want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've realized that I think I'm very externally motivated, which means that I look for kind of tangible incentives or goals or achievements to kind of like push through things and get things done, rather than having to kind of like motivate myself internally and force myself to do the things, rather than trying to do the things that I want to do.
You know what
that kind of makes sense.
It does make sense, but you know what I'm thinking? I'd really like you to take on an exercise for 1 week, okay? And for 1 week, I'd like you to journal. And the reason why I want you to journal is because you have so many great ideas in your mind, right? You have a vision for how you want your life to be. But I also get the sense that there's a part of you that might want to look the part, look good, right? Get the accolades, and you might also be trying to please other people or just meet other people's expectations. And the thing about journaling is that's when you can be alone with your thoughts, the good and the bad, okay? So when you want to journal about anything, you just want to kind of get it all out. So it might be if you're having a frustrating day and something's not going the way that you would want, journal about that. How do you feel? What happened? What did you try? And what was the outcome? What do you wish you had done differently? Just get it all out of your system. And then also, when you wake up in the morning or at night, whichever one you have the most time, I want you to journal. It doesn't have to be both. just morning or night,
Uh-huh.
that's the time I want you to plan. And I want you to get a little selfish with your time, and I want you to dream big in that moment and write down write down what you want in your life. What we want to do is we want to get you out of your mind, more into your heart. You want to lead with your heart. And I promise you this, if you lead with your heart, the money will follow, the good relationships will follow, the friends will come, the career will be there. But there's so many thoughts going on in your mind that I want to translate those down to your heart. And then when you write, it's going to come out from your heart. Now, if you're not much of a writer, you can also speak it, maybe record it into a feature on your phone or another recording device. Either way. But that is the exercise I want to give you. And then I encourage you to call in, let us know how it went. I'd love to coach you further. But it's important that you just flush it out. Because right now, what I hear when you call in is that there's so much going on that you want to say. And I think that would be a tool for you to get those words out. And then go back a week later, a month later, even a year later, and experience what you wrote. I think you'll really like journaling. I think it'll help you a lot. Does that make sense?
Interesting. Yeah.
Good.
I might try that because I personally haven't journaled in a really, really long time.
Well, first step is to admit it right there. Haven't journaled,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So here's what I want you to do.
I think the most I've done is, I think, in elementary school when it was a forced writing assignment from my teacher, and I think that's about it.
Well, I think you're way overdue. But do this. Take on that exercise, and I promise you, the discovery and the learning about yourself is going to be just really eye-opening for you. I believe that. So thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
right.
I'll take that advice and I'll try it every day.
You'll do great. I believe in you. You'll do great. But thank you for calling in, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Bye. So I love that he's brave. He's willing to take on that task I gave him to journal, and everybody has the ability to do that. That's how you channel what you really want in your life. That's how you become brave and courageous to go get it. So now we're going to go back to the lines. We have another caller on the phone. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out Show. Hi, thank you. How can we help you today?
I'm calling from Glen Burnie, Maryland.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. What's going on?
I'm good. Just a question as to not quite feeling appreciated or appreciated by your employer. Just wondering if anyone ever feels like they give their all. For instance, I've been with a company for 7 years and have done very well. However, just have the feeling that I'm not appreciated much anymore and feel abused as far as in my dedication.
Well, here's the first thing I would say about that. Always remember that you have choices, okay? On one hand, you have a choice to stay or a choice to leave. Now, you might not want to leave, right? You built your career at this company. So I'm not saying you have to leave, but just allow yourself to bask in the freedom of choice. Because I think sometimes when we feel like we have to settle, we have to stay, you're kind of locking yourself into one experience when if maybe there's a different job, a different position that gives you more of that integrity, more of that accolades, more of that praise that you want. Because you are awesome. Just calling in today shows so much to me that you're brave, that you're fearless, that you want to give your all, but you just want respect back. Now, here's the other thing I want to tell you. The other thing is always remember the value of your worth. I say remember because I know you're a woman who does know your worth, but always remember it. Yeah. So when you go to work, don't let others make you feel small. Don't let them make you feel as though you're not getting that praise. Sometimes we got to give our own praise. Sometimes you have to say out loud, I can't believe I did such a good job. And others will say, yeah, you did a great job. Sometimes we actually have to spur the conversation ourselves. And don't be afraid to put together a meeting with your manager, with your boss, and not in a way that is going to put them down, make them feel bad, put you down, or anything like that, but just really bring to the attention to them that, hey, I love being here. I got great ideas. Let's have a conversation. Keep it positive, keep it light. And that will also spur more energy, more excitement. Just don't lock yourself in, okay? But I think if you do that, you'll see great things happen. But I want to thank you so much for calling in.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for the suggestion.
You got it. Have a wonderful day. And everybody, when we come back, we're going to be joined by our inspirational guest. You don't want to miss Beth's story. It's tender, it's sweet, and inspiring. Stay tuned.
When they test you, stand firm and move only when you hear the seatbelt click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous.
They call me Prince like I'm royalty or something. But the places I've lived ain't no palaces. So I don't need grilled salmon or a new scratching post. Just give me a cardboard box and a can of tuna and we're good. You can even change my name. I'm cool being the kitty formerly known as Prince.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
Sure, I look cute now, but when my owner lost his job, it was rough. I was living on the street, and one night, me and this Cocker Spaniel got into it so bad, I wound up looking like an ice cream cone. I cried a little bit, but thankfully I got rescued, so I'm running, I'm jumping, all back to my old self, and I'm ready to give unconditional love, even if you put a lampshade on my head.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham-bam minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high-five.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt. There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. A professional motivational speaker, Nancy can help you overcome obstacles and start living full out. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Hello and welcome back to the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about bravery, how we can be more courageous in our life, and really how to get through those hard moments when we don't know. We're at a crossroad and we're stressed and we're frustrated and we're sad. And how do you be brave during one of those times? Well, our inspirational guest today, Beth Fochtman, is no stranger to being brave. She had to be when at 8 months she actually lost her little boy when her liver ruptured. And her story is full of tender moments, but also it tells us all to just keep going and to just let the life lessons come at us and evolve and be the best we can be. And you'll understand why I say that as she shares her story. So, Beth, hi, welcome to the show.
Thank you so
Hi,
much.
Thank you for joining us. So, I want to take our audience back to, here you were pregnant. For the most part, your pregnancy was good and your little boy was kicking inside you and everything felt right. When did things start to feel wrong?
It happened very quickly. He was so active all day Friday, and the next thing I know, I started feeling really sick, and my heart was beating very fast. And within a couple hours, I felt run down. I felt like I was getting the flu. And then in a couple hours, my heart started beating faster, like it was going to pop through my chest. And I just felt really sick, and I was dizzy and nauseous and sweating. And again, I just thought I had the flu, but obviously something was really wrong.
Well, and this was your first baby, so you might have even chalked it up to being part of the pregnancy symptoms.
Yeah, I didn't even, looking back, it was definitely hindsight. You can see things. I was really tired and exhausted, but I hadn't been pregnant before, so I just thought, I'm working full time, my first baby. I really did think it was just pregnancy.
And at what point did you and your husband decide that you needed to go to the hospital? It was serious.
My husband found me on the bathroom floor. I had gone to the bathroom and passed out a couple times. I was very confused, and I wasn't sure what was going on. And our dog sat on him and woke him up, and then he noticed I was missing from the bed, and he went to go check on me, and that's where he found me laying on the floor, so we knew this wasn't just the flu.
This was more. And when you were being taken to the hospital, it's interesting because you had a pain in your shoulder. You had no idea what that meant. What did you learn?
I learned that right shoulder pain can be a sign that you have a liver problem.
And you just thought it was just a right shoulder pain. Now, when you got to the hospital, how did things unfold then? How was your baby? How was your health? Were they able to stabilize you?
Well, I remember laughing. It seemed like it took forever to get to the hospital, and my husband almost beat the ambulance. And so I remember him coming into the room, and it was only about 4 o'clock in the morning, so they had soft lights on, and we were laughing about him finding it, and a NICU nurse actually helped him find it, and they came in, and my husband asked me, he said, do you want me to call your parents? And I said, well, let's just make sure everything's okay first. And they hooked me up to a machine, and then they brought in another one, and it was taking forever. So I knew something was clearly wrong at that point because he was a very active boy, and they could find his heartbeat very quickly, almost every doctor appointment. And so we found out that he had passed, and that really was the worst point in my life ever. There's nothing that can compare to that moment that your dream just shatters right in front of you.
Well, and Beth, and I really appreciate you saying that, because for other mothers and fathers who have lost babies so late in a pregnancy like that, I mean, how do you even digest that moment? I mean, you were so close to the finish line.
Yeah, I don't know. Everyone's different. I have a wonderful support system. My husband was amazing. He never left my side. It's an awful thing that I wish no one had to go through and knew what that feeling was. It's, you just kind of, it's almost surreal, like an out-of-body experience that you just don't think it's really happening. And because it was early and I was still confused, at this point I was bleeding internally. We just didn't know it yet because of the tumor rupturing. But you just are in a state of denial, like I'm going to wake up from this nightmare. I'm going to wake up from this nightmare and find out that it's really life and it's happening.
Well, and while your son had passed away, you could have passed as well. What is this common that livers rupture in such a way?
No, it's usually very rare. I'm considered a medical miracle, 1 in a million. It does happen, but a lot of times they find it in autopsies because the person is bleeding. By the time they figure out what happened, you bleed out and die. So fortunately, it happened the way it was supposed to. If I would have gone to the hospital and Logan was still alive, he would have been in distress, and so they would have done a C-section, and I would have bled right away, and I would have died, and who knows what damage would have happened to him or if he would have even survived.
Hearing you say those words actually gives me kind of shivers because truly we have to trust life. We have to. The good and the bad, and some things just don't make sense. And I'm sure you've tried to make sense of this ever since that day.
Absolutely. I've gone through every scenario in my head. If we would have done this, if maybe we should have gone sooner, maybe we should have done this. And even though, I think any mother would sacrifice, and I would have sacrificed myself for him, there was no guarantee that he wouldn't have been, he would have been born undamaged from me because of my body was just in shutdown mode. And he could have had all kinds of physical disabilities. At that point, he was super healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was checking out fine. During my pregnancy was fine, more than fine. But you never know what something like that does to a baby.
And put the baby aside, we never know when that would happen to any of us. All the more reason for everybody to get checked out annually if you can.
Right.
Could that have been detected?
No.
The
only way, they told me there were no symptoms until it ruptures.
Wow.
And if they did an MRI, they could have seen it.
Maybe, huh? Well,
yeah, you wouldn't have done that when you're 8 months pregnant.
For sure, exactly. Well, Beth, stay with us because we do have to go to a commercial break, but there's a lot more to her story as it unfolds here. So stay with us. We're talking to Beth Fochtman. This is the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari, and we'll be right back after this break.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation.
America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. 1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation.
America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Our family is no less than any other family.
My heart doesn't see race.
Love is love.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund Reading.
Why do you not get me?
I do. This is what it feels like for kids with learning and attention issues. Redirecting to understood.org.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive.
Connor is struggling in school.
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
Why don't you understand me?
I do. This is what it feels like for kids with learning and attention issues. Redirecting to understood.org.
Don't ignore the subtext. It's on us to intervene in sexual assault. Because we can. Take the pledge at itsonus.org.
How's your hair? Is it pretty?
Daddy.
It's pretty.
Maybe I'll
Red shirt, blue shirt, yellow shirt. Oops. Yellow pants, red pants, green pants. Oops. Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. It's gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. We're getting so wet. Oh.
One in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation.
America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a trusted life coach, Nancy will help you overcome setbacks and embrace all life has to offer. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back to the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and today we are talking about bravery. How do we take some of the hardest times in our life and even find our way to crawl through the pain and get to the light, to get to a place where we feel hopeful again, where we feel like we can attain those goals and dreams despite all the curveballs, all the limitations, all the financial stress and relationship crises, you name it. How do we get to the other side? Our inspirational guest today, Beth Fochtman, is a perfect example of truly what it means to live out. I mean, she's so special in the way that she took a hard moment when her liver ruptured and she did lose her baby at 8 months, but yet she didn't just stop there. Her desires and goals to be a mom kept her going. So I'd like to welcome Beth back to the show.
Thanks.
Hi, thank you. So in our last segment here, we talked about getting to the hospital, and obviously you lost your son, but they did everything they could to save you, and they did. But when you go home after all of that, and it's you and your husband, and you're supposed to bring him home with you, how do you even find the energy to wake up in the morning?
It was really hard at the beginning. I actually gave birth to him on the day that was supposed to be my baby shower. And so, we had everything around the house. We had plans to get, finish shopping what we didn't get at the baby shower we were anticipating. And my husband, God love him, he went home and he gathered everything up. We just had the car seat installed that week earlier, and so he took everything out. He put it in Logan's room, and he closed the door because it was really hard for him to look at all that stuff as well. And everything you thought you'd have a lifetime together with your child, and so it was very hard on him. The only thing I would tell people is make sure you communicate to each other, because there were days where I had to pull him up and days he had to pull me up a lot. And, there were days where, both of us were really sad and crying and upset. And so it was normal, but you have to talk to each other and, forgive each other, because everyone grieves differently too. But it was a very quiet, sad house, and we are not that kind of couple. We're a very humorous, laughing, teasing kind of couple. So it was very somber for a long time.
And when you finally started to, see more clearly and come out of the fog of that mood, when did you finally decide that you wanted to try again?
Well, everything that I do is I want Logan to be proud of me, and I'm his mom, and I have to carry his legacy on with me. And so I had always dreamed of being a mom, and for him making that sacrifice and giving me back my health and giving me these years that I shouldn't have had. The doctors told me that I was a ticking time bomb, and it would have been at any time. So if it weren't for Logan and I had another pregnancy, I wouldn't have survived that either. So, it was just a matter of time till this was going to rupture or even turn into cancer. And then I would need a liver transplant or who knows what else. So it wasn't just, this might happen. It was a certainty that this was going to happen at any time.
Mm-hmm. And down the line, at one point, you and your husband were blessed with good news that you were pregnant again. How long after that, after Logan's loss?
It was, I wasn't allowed to get pregnant for 6 months because I had, 60% of my liver removed 3 weeks after Logan was born. And then I had to heal from that physically. Emotionally, it took a whole lot longer, and I'm still working on it. I consider myself a work in progress. But, we tried the next summer. I was a little bit older. I didn't want to wait, being so close and being, I can still feel him in my arms to this day, to be that close. And so we wanted children. We wanted to have, to share our love with a child. And so I got pregnant again, and unfortunately I had a miscarriage. And so then we weren't sure we were going to try again. I didn't think I could survive another loss.
Well, and that loss, actually, for everybody listening, that was a big loss. You were about 12 weeks in when you miscarried.
Right. We went in to hear the heartbeat, and to hear those words, "I'm so sorry, there's no heartbeat," twice in your life is way too many. And I know there are people who have had more losses than that, but it is devastating. And I had felt so broken, and my body had failed me on so many times, and that was the darkest moment. And I didn't think I could really live. I wasn't suicidal. I wasn't going to harm myself. I was just so down, and there's no words to explain that.
Did you start to question, am I meant to be a mom? Should I even try?
Yes. Yes. Because everyone around me was were having babies and having their families, and that's not why I wanted children. I wanted children because I wanted them, but it was hard watching everyone have their dream, and we couldn't at that point.
Now, you decided to try again, but what is the leap, the emotional leap that you had to make from being in that dark place? Because we're talking about bravery today, and you are so courageous. But
thank you. I don't feel it, but thank you.
Oh, you are. Oh, you are, because it would be so easy to check out emotionally, physically, marriages break up because of this and you guys stay together. So yes, you are for sure. And I want you to know that. But how did you make that leap? Because somebody listening today who is deflated, who can't get pregnant, who keeps losing babies, who just maybe loses other things in their life, money, jobs, you name it. What got you from that dark place to being hopeful?
Well, you have to take, and I hate saying this because I hate it when people are like, well, time will help. Time does help. And it did help in this case, but it was just a matter of, I knew if I didn't try, I was in my late 30s now, I knew if I hadn't tried, I would regret it. And again, it goes back to everything I do, I want to honor Logan. And I didn't want to disappoint him. I didn't want to have a half-life and just cruise through life and okay, well, that's it. So, we were determined to try one last time to see if we could have children. And we got lucky, and we had a little girl about a year later after the miscarriage.
And what is that moment like? I mean, you had given birth to Logan, but he had passed. You had a pregnancy that turned into a miscarriage. For all the reasons you could have been pessimistic, something else is going to happen, waiting for the next shoe to drop. When you had that moment where you were holding your baby girl, I mean, was that validation for everything, or what was that moment like for you?
It was the most amazing, I'm going to cry. It was the most amazing moment. Just holding her, hearing her cry. When you give birth to a stillborn or a baby who doesn't, maybe they are unable to make a noise, that's all a parent wants to hear is them cry. You want to hear their voice welcoming them into the world. And so hearing her cry, it just was the greatest sound I have ever heard. And you worked so hard. I had doctors and nurses. Everyone was on our side. Everyone was praying for us. I had a student whose mom went to Rome. She lit a candle for us. So, I mean, we had all this support. And I think that's really what got us through, because it was we had a scare where the one day I didn't feel her and I was crying, and we had to go in, and my doctor cleared their schedule, and they immediately put me on a machine, and her heart was there. And as soon as her heart was beating, my blood pressure went back to normal again. And so, I mean, we did have a couple scares, and I was trying to be as positive as I could. Everyone kept saying, you're healthy now, you were sick before, and you still carried a baby to 8.5 months, but you're healthy now. And so I tried to stay on the positive side. It was so easy to go to the negative, but I was determined to keep it on the positive side.
Well, and your journey wasn't done yet, because then you gave birth to who?
We wanted her to have a living sibling. So we tried one last time. I was going to be 40 the following year, and I said, let's try one more time. And my husband said, we both wanted her to have a sibling, and we got two. We had twins this past February, so they're 8 months now.
Wow. I mean, congratulations on that. And why we talk about bravery and why I say, Beth, that you are so brave is you could have given up countless times. But that dream to be a mom, and you fulfilled that dream 3 times, 4 times, actually.
Yeah.
5 times if we count the miscarriage, right? Because that was still a pregnancy. So, I mean, like I said, you are so much of what it means to live full out. And I want to thank you for being on today's show and sharing your story, because everybody listening who wants to have children, don't give up. Don't give up, right?
Right. It can be a hard journey, but it's worth it.
It can happen. And so thank you, Beth, so much for being on the show today. And we'll be thinking of you and your family as you continue to evolve here. But thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Anytime I tell Logan's story, it's really a blessing.
And I feel that. I definitely get that. Thank you. And for everybody listening, what I love about Beth's story so much is just the fact that there's going to be times that we're going to get stopped, that we're going to feel hopeless, that we're going to doubt, am I worth it? Will it ever turn out? But it will. You just have to find supporters in your life and hold that dream near and dear to your heart. And don't give up. Turn over every stone, every leaf, and check off every possible resource. And then if it doesn't happen, well then, you know what? I'm sure another door will open. But you have to continue to believe. That's a huge part of what it means to live full out. So when we come back, we'll be taking your calls. And again, this is the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari, and stay tuned. We'll be right back after this break.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation.
America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Papa!
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish.
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Drop that baby.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Your daughter is having trouble learning French. Do you A, hire a tutor?
Bonjour.
B, enforce a French-only rule at home? Or C, watch some foreign films? When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers, but that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same. Your son wants to get a cat, but you're allergic.
Maybe you could be an outdoor cat that lives in our neighbor's yard, 3 doors down.
Mom! You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same. Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
When they test you, stand firm and move only when you hear the seatbelt click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt. There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a certified life coach, Nancy can help you to overcome challenges and start living full out. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Hello, thank you for joining us again. This is Nancy Solari and the Living Full Out Show. And I hope over the course of this show you have been inspired. That is always our goal. But most of all, rather than concentrating on where you want to be brave in your life, I want you to always remember that you are that person, and just take today to be excited about what you have achieved in your life. I think sometimes we forget to take assessment of what we have achieved. You know, we're so focused on tomorrow and what's not working and what we haven't got. And I want you to focus on what you do have. Perhaps you have a really great family. Perhaps you have friends or a job you enjoy, or it could be a hobby, playing guitar or piano, and that brings you peace. Or it could just be waking up every day knowing that you're a good person. Maybe everything doesn't turn out right, but you know what? Being a good person is still something that we all strive for, and not everybody can say that. So I want you to take this moment to be proud of yourself and all that you've attained and achieved. And that is bravery, to look in the mirror and be able to give ourselves bad news and good news instead of just the bad news all the time. And most of all, when you consider where you want to be brave in your life, again, trust yourself. I promise you, it's so easy to just explain away all the reasons why something doesn't work. But when you believe in yourself and you keep that drive near and dear to your heart, and you just keep pressing forward, people admire that. I admire that. And that's who you are. So we're going to go to the phone lines now and talk to one of our callers. Hello, welcome to Living Full Out Show.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for joining us. Hi, good. How can we help you today?
Hi, I just wanted to call and ask what I can do. I have trouble making big life decisions for myself. And I wanted to know what are some things that I could do to deal with this problem.
Oh, I hear you. But you made a good decision calling in. But I do hear you. So the big life decisions. In the past, what is your normal routine of how you make a decision? Do you talk to other people? Do you go with your gut instinct? What do you normally do?
Talk to other people.
Okay. Now, do you do what other people think carry a lot of weight in your life?
At times, I feel like it's best to listen to others' opinions, but in the end, you just need to do what your gut feeling is telling you.
And I'm so excited that you said that. So when it comes to these big life decisions, do you question yourself?
Yes.
And why is that?
Maybe out of fear that I might be taking the wrong decision.
And have you ever made a wrong decision before?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay. And we all have. Me too, right? I'm raising my hand. I'm right there with you. And when you've made that wrong decision, although it didn't turn out exactly the way that you wanted, did you still land on your feet? Did you still find a way to laugh the next day?
Yeah.
Right? So what I want you to look at is sometimes we give too much power to quote, making the right decision. Because really there isn't a right decision. When you're born into this world and you get to play the game of life, it's meant to be experienced. It's not meant to get right every time. So I want you to take the weight of those burdens off your shoulder, that you need to get it right all the time, and say, you know what? I forgive myself. If I do something silly, if I make a mistake and whatever, it's going to be okay. You know, the other day...
It is really helpful.
No, and it's true. It's true. I mean, the other day I was at an event and I had really bad pockets. I put $80 in the pockets and I lost it. Now, was that a bummer?
No.
to lose $80? Absolutely. But what I said to myself is I said, darn it, I just hope that someone picked up the $80 who really needed it. But maybe
that's great.
But maybe that's where that $80 was meant to go. Maybe I was never meant to have it. Maybe the other person was meant to receive it. So these wrong, quote, quote, wrong decisions that you think you're making, maybe they're not wrong. Maybe that's the way it's supposed to be.
That's so true. I never thought of it like that.
Right? So I want you to just go through the day today making confident decisions, not if they're right or they're wrong, but what your heart tells you. Lead with your heart in life and you will never go wrong because it's just the way it's meant to be. Okay? But I want to thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you for your advice.
You're welcome. Have a great day. And
Thank you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And I want to thank everybody who listened to today's show and our entire Living Full Out family here. We're so dedicated to just bringing you as most motivation as we can. We have Roger and Rich and Kenny and Amber and Chris and Sam and Riley. And oh my gosh, the names go on of all the people here who want you to smile every day and want you to live full out each and every day. I want you to connect with us on social media. We got Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. Again, we're all about motivation. But most of all, I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to be brave, courageous, fearless. You pick the word, but you can do it. Thank you for watching the Living Full Out YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit the like button. And if you're interested in the content we provide, feel free to hit the subscribe button. Now, for more inspirational content, click the video on the right to get to know me, Nancy Solari, host of the Living Full Out Show and certified life coach, in more detail. Click the video on the left and you'll be motivated by the Living Full Out radio show and our inspirational guests and callers. Keep in mind, we welcome your comments. If you're empowered, let us know. Feel free to leave a comment. We would enjoy hearing from you. And here's to you, living your life full out.